It's not great. I mean, there's some good stuff, but I wish it was better. I've heard versions of this statement my entire life. Nothing is ever 100% awesome. Sometimes I'm lucky and it approaches 70% awesome, but typically there's a splatter of bird shit on my freshly cleaned car, or there's a single broken egg in a carton of 12, or there's an ugly red pimple on otherwise clear skin. I hate taking the good with the bad. Can't it all just be good? In this week's podcast, I talk about a fabulous, sort of ridiculous approach to dealing with bad news. And who doesn't get bad news on the regular? It's a natural part of our lives and careers. So keep listening to learn what it means to hug the bear. Hey everyone, I'm Laverne McKinnon, and welcome to the Moonshot Mentor blogcast. I'm a certified career coach and grief recovery specialist. I help ambitious, driven people feel confident, empowered, and excited after experiencing a career setback. Whether it's from feeling stuck in a tough period or frustration from slow progress, I offer up tools and resources to revamp your path to career success. That statement about how it's not great, but there's some good stuff came from Michael. Michael is the guy on my team who's always missing self-imposed deadlines and doesn't do what he says. I spoke about him in my post about broken trust. Well, he's back again, and I feel validated in not dumping him because he really is a genius. So here's what happened with the wish it was better situation. I've been working on a big project that required an expert to provide an assessment. I did a bunch of research, I got a few referrals, and I interviewed folks on the phone and chose the one who was pricey, very pricey, available in my time frame, and could write a detailed analysis within a week of the inspection. So a week or so later, Michael and the team reviewed the analysis, and it had several excellent points, and it also had several bold statements outside the scope of the expert's expertise. I wish that expert would have stayed in their lane, but I get that people sometimes get bored doing the same thing in and out every day, and they wanted to show the breadth of their knowledge and experience. Unfortunately, outside the lane portion of the assessment was not accurate. I know this because it is Michael's area of expertise, and he was quite vocal about the inaccuracies and how this report really gunked up our wheels of our project being able to move forward. So we were really stymied on how to take the next step, and it required sharing the report with the financing group. And this financing group would then use the information provided to determine whether they would move forward with us or not. So we're sitting around my dining room table, me, Michael, my husband, and another team member. We're talking in circles, debating the pros and cons. I finally asked Michael what he would do if it was solely his call. Michael steeples his fingers and thinks. We watch him think. He's clearly in his zone. I can see his brain sorting, filing, accessing RAM. His breath is steady. His face is relaxed. His legs are crossed like he's about to take a sip of Macallan's 18 out of a crystal tumbler. He's opened up his intuitive center, flung his heart open wide and said, "Speak to me." The rest of us don't move a muscle. We don't want to fuck up his mojo. Maybe, like a minute goes by, which is a long time to watch someone thinking, but it's also fascinating. Michael releases the steeple, lowers his hand, and says, "We're gonna hug the bear." I immediately feel squeamish, and I'm intrigued by this metaphor. Bears are extraordinary, powerful creatures, and hugging one of them could mean getting my head ripped off or being eaten alive. In sharing the report with the financing group, they could decide to completely back away. And yet, there's a woo opportunity here. In the realm of spirit animals, bears are pretty awesome. They represent strength, courage, and confidence. Submitting the report could be a pretty cocky move. Michael is essentially saying, let's not hide or run or play dead. Let's meet the challenge head on. I love it. I really love it. Michael is a genius. So how does hugging the bear apply to your career? Facing challenges head on during your career is the only way to move forward and be aligned with your values and purpose and find fulfillment. It's so much easier to listen to the gremlin voices that keep us small, or to rationalize our actions and not take responsibility, or to blame others. At the end of the day, though, Keeping blinders on may feel safer and more secure, but ignoring the truth, no matter how awful, will keep you out of the driver's seat. Hugging the bear means seeking out the truth by gathering data and information, acknowledging any hard truths despite any predictions on how it might affect your desired outcome or goals. Letting the truth speak for itself, not coloring it, spinning it, negating it, or manipulating it. If you're feeling stalled or slowed in your progress, it's time to hug the bear by getting a really good look at the bear. Now, as you ponder hugging the bear, gremlin voices are going to pop up. It's inevitable. Remember that gremlins only come out when you're onto something good. So you're seeking out the hard truth means that you're clearing the brush and finding the path forward. The gremlin does not want you to honor your values, live your purpose, find fulfillment, or succeed. It wants to keep you small. Even if you don't fully engage with the gremlin voices, simply listening to them will distract you from the truth. They soak up your time, energy, and resources with debate. Several years ago, I contemplated leaving my work as an independent producer and rejoining the corporate ranks. I was attracted to the idea of a steady paycheck, health coverage, a 401k, and other benefits. I'd like the idea of being in a place with wider collaboration where I could champion marginalized artists and their ideas. I'm a volume person. I like variety and being able to move from task to task. I interviewed quite a bit, and it came down to 3 jobs. In each of those opportunities, it was between me and another candidate. I pulled out all the stops, and I had very, very fancy people call on my behalf. In each instance, the job went to someone else. It was time to seek out the hard truth by gathering data. I did some digging, and I discovered that the people who got the jobs were at least 20 years younger than me and had a recent significant win. I had to acknowledge the hard truth that I was outside the desirable age range, and it had been a while since I had a huge victory that I could tout. Maybe I could get past the age issue, but the lack of a recent big win was not something I could change. My window for the corporate gig had shut. It took a few months for the hard truth to settle in and to allow the feelings of sadness and loss to bubble to the surface. I hired a therapist to help me with grief work, and I reconnected with my sense of agency. That's when I doubled down on indie producing and simultaneously revved up my coaching practice. Looking back at that time, I didn't know what hugging the bear meant. I just knew that I was feeling stuck and had no idea on how to move forward. When Michael said, "We're gonna hug the bear," so many pieces fell into place. I got it. Burying my head in the sand, rationalizing my actions, blaming others was not helpful in the job search. I had to face the hard truth so I could determine a course of action. Or I could not face the hard truth and stay stuck. With a lot of water under the bridge, I can honestly say that I'm much happier doing what I'm doing now. If I'd gotten one of those corporate gigs, I may have felt more secure financially, but I would not have been fully honoring my values and life purpose. Maybe this is me rationalizing not getting one of those jobs, but I do feel so much joy when I'm working with my clients in my coaching practice and helping writers and directors get their projects across the finish line as an indie producer. This idea of hugging the bear works in all aspects of life. Here are a few more examples of me facing hard truths outside the professional realm. My eldest daughter chose not to go to college. The week I got dark purple Botox bruises on my face and I was hosting a party that same weekend, yikes. Torrential wind and rain severely damaged our roof, washed away part of our road, and created mudslides that blocked us from getting in and out of our neighborhood. I wasn't going to change any of these things, but by embracing each situation, I was able to create new possibilities. My daughter and I are closer than ever, despite her not fulfilling my expectation of continuing her education. She's working full-time and has a great plan for her career. My Botox bruises wound up being a bonding conversation with many, many people. Turns out I'm not the only one who's done this. And now my situation with the assessment is still going on, but I feel proud to have honored my values of transparency and authenticity. Regardless of what happens, I have a new piece of wisdom from Michael, albeit a bit unconventional. And I've been able to apply this lesson to times when things aren't all rainbows and sunshine. I'm much better at not shying away or pretending that everything's perfect. So to recap, hugging the bear means confronting the difficult, sometimes painful aspects of life or career. And it's not reserved for one specific challenge. It's a mindset. It's about resilience, acknowledging reality, and finding a path forward by gathering the data and embracing the uncomfortable truths and letting that guide your decisions. So the next time you're faced with a metaphorical bear, remember Michael's words and don't hide, run, or play dead. Let the truth guide your way. Hug the bear and you might find strength, courage, and confidence you never knew you had. That's it for today. Head over to Moonshot Mentor on Substack. I've got lots of journal questions to support you in hugging your metaphorical bear. And I'd love to hear more about your experiences in facing hard truths. So drop me a comment so we can continue the conversation. You can also visit me at moonshotmentor.com, where you can find links to all my social and how to work with me. A very big thank you to Lynn Chen for the video and audio editing. You can find her on social at Ms. Lynn Chen. And if you enjoy what you hear, I would so appreciate if you could subscribe to my blogcast, as it would help me achieve my moonshot of 5,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for tuning in.